Hey friends, it's Heather Kiros here with First Century Youth Ministry. And today I want to talk to you about the calling of the disciples. Now, if you haven't already, I would encourage you to check out my video on the age of the disciples, as it will better help you understand where we're headed in this video. But just to kind of recap real quickly about that video, essentially I share about from Jewish history and the history of the Bible, about how the disciples, except for Peter, were in fact teenagers. Today we want to talk about the calling of the disciples. And this is where Jesus and his contemporaries were a little bit different. And if we grasp that difference and that truth today, it can so encourage us in our ministry with teenagers. And so it was typical in the Jewish educational system that if you were one of the best, if you continued on in the Jewish educational system, you would get to a point in your study when you would go and approach a rabbi and ask if you could follow them. Now, if you weren't the best, if you just didn't quite make the cut, at some point you would drop out of school and you would begin to learn a trade and eventually start working in that trade. But again, if you were one of the very best, you could go to that rabbi, ask if you could follow them. But you see, that rabbi was looking for disciples as well. They were paying attention to the best of the best in the Jewish educational system. And if that rabbi didn't think that you had what it took to be their disciple, they had every right to say no. And so the thing about Jesus, though, Jesus flips it all around. And I love this about Jesus because he always does things better. And so Jesus, what he ends up doing is, we don't see that Jesus goes to the synagogue looking for disciples. So he hasn't gone to the ones who are the best of the best in the Jewish educational system. Jesus goes to young men who are working a trade. They're the ones who didn't make the cut in the Jewish educational system. They're the ones who people said, you don't have what it takes. But Jesus goes to them and he says, come and follow me. So what Jesus is saying from a first century perspective to that young man who's out fishing or sitting in a tax collector's booth who already believes that they don't have what it takes, is he's saying, I think that you can be like me. Wow. And so Jesus takes the dropouts. He takes those who others didn't believe had what it took. And through his power, he enabled them to do things they never would have dreamed possible. And so maybe you have a teenager or two in your midst who feels like they just don't have what it takes. Be encouraged to share this message with them today, that Jesus believes that they can be like him. If you like this video and would like to see more like it, be sure to subscribe to my channel. Also, you can pick up a copy of First Century Youth Ministry. Just follow the link provided in the description.